Before we get started, I do want to let you guys know that I did originally film a step-by-step instructions on how to make the squares, but unfortunately some of my footage did get deleted, so instead of me giving you guys a crappy tutorial, I'm just going to link the video that I learned from. The only thing different that I did from her square was at the end of the square I did a round of single crochets. That was the only thing I added. I did use a 5mm hook, so once you have all your squares, come back to this video so we can continue. So for this project, you are going to need 20 squares. So you're going to need 8 for the back panel, 8 for the front panel, and then 4 for the hood. So this is how you are going to lay out your squares. So you're going to have 8 in the back. It's going to be one big panel, and then you're going to have 2 front panels because it is an open face sweater. Now, if you don't want an open face sweater, that's fine. You can just go ahead and connect it the same way you did in the back. The lines that you see here is where you are going to connect your squares with single crochet or slip stitch, whatever you prefer, but I did use single crochet. For the hood, you're going to have 4 squares. Once you have all 4 squares connected, you're going to fold it in half vertically and then slip stitch or single crochet across the top to create a seam. Once you have your hood completed, this is where your hood is going to be placed, and I do want to let you guys know that each square is a total of 9 inches. Now, that can also differ depending on your tension. Now that we have all our squares completed, it's now time to start connecting them. So once you have your squares, you want to go ahead and start laying them out side by side. So normally some people like to lay their squares right sides facing each other, so that way when they do single crochet or slip stitch across, the seam isn't showing once they turn it right side out. But me personally, for this project, I want the seam to show, so I don't place them right sides together. I actually place them wrong sides together, so when I do single crochet across, the seam is going to show. That's just the style that I'm going for when I'm making this sweater, but it's completely up to you if you don't want the seam to show or not. Do whatever you feel is best for you and looks good to you. Now once you have your squares laid together, you're going to insert your hook into the corner into one of the single crochets, and then you're just going to start single crocheting through both squares all the way across. Now do your best to try to keep it as lined up as possible, but it doesn't have to be perfect. At the end of connecting your first 2 squares, you can always go ahead and cut and fasten off, so that way you can align your next square. But for this, I'm not going to cut and fasten off. I'm just going to place my next square to start working on the sleeves. So this is a diagram. I'm just going to show you exactly how I'm laying them out, and I'm just going to continue on with single crocheting. So I am going to single crochet all the way up, and then I'm going to cut and fasten off, so that way I can add my next square and continue on with connecting them with single crochets. Okay, so at this point you should have completed adding your 3rd square. So now we are just going to cut and fasten off. When it comes to cutting and fasten off, I always like to chain 1 before I cut my yarn. It just gives me that extra security that I'm needing. Now we can go ahead and add our last square. So we're just going to align it up and then just single crochet across like we've been doing. And as I mentioned, just try to do as best as you can. I know sometimes the stitches don't always line up perfectly, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be super perfect. Just try to get it as close as possible, and then you can just single crochet across, okay? Once you finish adding your last square, you should still have your working yarn attached. So we're not going to cut and fasten off, because from here we're just going to do a trimming around the whole panel. So you're just going to continue on inserting 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around until you reach that point that you started with. So you're just going to go around the entire panel just to add a nice trimming to it, a finishing edge of the panel. And you would repeat this for all panels for the sweater. So you're going to do this for your back panel and then your second front panel as well. And I really hope this tutorial is not so confusing. I try to make it less, intimidating for you guys to really follow along and just understand. So I kind of like to do it as if I'm having a conversation with you guys, or if you guys are just like right here and I'm just telling you step by step what to do. I also didn't want this video to be super long, so at this point you should have had all panels completed. So we have our 2 fronts and then we have our back panel. Remember in the beginning where I showed you guys exactly where we were going to single crochet to connect our panels? When you're single crocheting across the top, you kind of want to remember to stop halfway through that front square just to kind of give you enough room to attach your hood. Once you open up your panels for your sweater, this is where the hood is going to lay, so that is where you are going to line it up to attach it. Now, let's add the hood. So remember, you should have your 4 squares, and your 4 squares should have been connected. And then, like I said before, you're going to fold them vertically. So you're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to single crochet across the top here. So you're going to single crochet it across the top to create that seam, and then once you open up, it should look like this. When attaching the hood, it can look a little bit intimidating, but I promise you it's not. Just pay close attention. So what I like to do is I like to line up that middle seam from the squares right here in the middle, just to kind of give me a nice center point. So once I have it lined up there, I can just single crochet across and then make sure that the corners match up like this. And then once you have everything lined up, you're just going to do like we did before and just single crochet across. I did find one of my sewing clips that I had handy just to kind of hold everything in place when I'm single crocheting across, just to kind of keep it lined up as close as possible. So once you have it lined up, I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into the corner, going through both loops with a single crochet. And then, like I said, we're just going to single crochet all the way across, going into the front and the back. So we're just going to go all the way across until we reach the other corner of the hood. Once you finish attaching your hood, this is where you should have left off. Now this step is definitely optional, but from here I'm going to do a round of trimming, just going around the base of the hood and all the way down the open front and then around the bottom base of our sweater, just to kind of give it that finished edge. So I'm just going to insert one single crochet all the way around. Now you don't have to do single crochet, you can do double crochet, half double crochet, as much as you'd like. I ended up doing 2 rounds. Now that your trimming is complete, the last step of this sweater is to work on the cuffs of our sleeves. Say you're one of those people that don't really like the tighter wrist cuff and you just kind of want the sleeves to be loose and a little bit flare. That's completely fine. You can just go around the base of your opening with a single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, whatever stitch you like to use, without doing any decreasing. But for this tutorial, I am going to be doing a tighter wrist cuff. To begin on the wrist cuff, I'm going to attach my yarn with a slip stitch in any of these single crochet. It doesn't matter which one. It doesn't really have to be in a corner. It doesn't matter. So you're going to start out by chaining 1, and in that same space you're going to insert 1 single crochet. In the next single crochet, you are going to do a single crochet 2 together. So you're going to insert your hook and pull up a loop, and then you're going to go into the next stitch and pull up another loop and pull through all 3. And I know that was pretty fast, so let me show you again. So in the next stitch, you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the following stitch, you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then go into the next stitch, pull up another loop, and then your yarn over and pull through all 3. And that's how you do a single crochet 2 together. So you're going to alternate that by doing 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch single crochet 2 together, and then the next one would be just 1 single crochet, and then the following stitch would be single crochet 2 together. So in every other stitch you're going to decrease, and that is the pattern for this round. Now for the next round, you are going to start with 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch you're going to do another single crochet, and then in that third stitch you're going to single crochet 2 together. So the pattern for this round is 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet together. So in every third stitch you're going to do a decrease. So just remember, it's 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch is going to be 2 single crochet 2 together. So repeat that all the way around for this second round of your wrist cuff. And then I will meet you back at the end of this round to begin the next one. For round 3 of your wrist cuff is really simple. You're going to chain up 1, and then for this round you're just going to insert 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So no decreasing for this round, because if you do end up doing a decrease, your wrist cuff might end up being too tight. Once you completed round 3, you can go ahead and repeat round 3 for as many rows as you would like, for as long as you want your wrist cuff to be. So just keep going around with one single crochet. So I have finished my wrist cuff and I ended up doing a total of 6 rounds. So we had our first 3 rounds that we did together, and then I did an additional 3 rounds of just one single crochet in each stitch, and that was a good length for me. And then once you've completed that, you'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and then you'll be done with your sweater, y'all. I know this wasn't your typical step-by-step Crotorial video, but I really hope you guys were able to follow along and create this beautiful sweater as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember, fall and crochet go together real bad. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I know it was very highly requested, and I'm so glad I was able to get it out for you guys. I'll see you guys in my next one. Thank you. Bye.